and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Amelia and today we're going to be counting down the top 10 LGBTQ couples in books that are canon. Ships won't count. This video will be, the list will be completely canon based, so it's what's in the books that's going to be counting. Fan fiction, fan art won't count. So if something is lower on the list, it's probably because there isn't as much material to go off of as some other couples. And also we just don't really see them that often, so we can't really judge how they are as a couple. This will be judged mostly on how they work as a couple, but also a little bit of personal, my personal opinion put into it. Because, you know me, I don't like my ships. So, without any further ado, without any further ado, let's get started. We're going to start out with the two honorable mentions that I have because I thought that they should have a place on this list, though they don't really count that much, I guess. Number 12 is Nina and Willow from Kings, Queens, and In-Betweens. The book is right here. It came out, I think, it came out 6 months ago, I think. It's about Nina, and she's trying to it's like a coming of age story where she's discovering drag queens and drag races, and she's discovering herself as I think she's bisexual. I can't remember. She's bisexual, and she meets this girl whose name is Willow, and they don't really get together throughout the entire book, which is why they're number 12, but they kind of have a good friendship going on. They go on a date at the end of the book, and that's the only reason I'm counting it. Also, there's not as much femme/representation, and I needed something that wasn't male-male. Nina and Willow were really cute together when they were, dating, I guess. Kings, Queens, and In-Betweens is a confusing book, because it goes through a lot of, things, and a lot of crushes and minor dates. Nina and Willow, I think, were the best pairing in this book, and I really liked them together. So, if there is a sequel, I really hope we get to see more of their dynamic together. Alright, number 11, Rufus and Matteo from They Both Die at the End. This one was so low because I really did like Rufus and Matteo together, but we got to see them, they were together as a canon couple for an hour before, they both die. They were really cute together. They had a really good friendship for only knowing each other for 24 hours, which I thought was really nice. And I really like time section books. I'm really doing great talking today. Time where it takes place in a certain amount of time. The Sun is Also a Star takes place in 24 hours, and They Both Die at the End also takes place in 24 hours. But I really liked how they showed that, and them getting to know each other, Rufus and Matteo, getting to know each other throughout the 24 hours and realizing that they both did actually like each other, which was super cute, and it's why they're number 11 and not fully higher on the list, because they weren't really a canon couple for very long. Number 10, Lynette and Nadia from Girls Made of Snow and Glass. This book is not really well known. I think no one I know has read this book except for me. But it has one of the cutest friendships and one of the cutest couples in it. Lynette is the daughter... Girls Made of Snow and Glass is a fairy tale retelling. It's a retelling of Snow White, I believe. Obviously, because, the title. But Lynette is the daughter of the queen, and she meets this apprentice doctor in training, Nadia, and they become really close friends really quickly, and then in the last 50 pages of the book, finally talk about their feelings and they get together, and it's really cute because they work together, and they've had a really good friendship worked up over it over time throughout the book. They were really good friends before they got together, and I always really like when you have a strong friendship base for your relationship. I feel that's good. That's a good way to have it. So Lynette and Nadia are number 10. They're really cute as friends, and you can tell from the beginning that something's gonna happen. It's great. If you haven't read Girls Made of Snow and Glass, you should go read it. It's amazing. It's one of my favorite fairy tale retellings that I've ever read. It's so good. And it's not it's not something that you would expect. It's so good. Go read it if you haven't read it. I love it so much. Okay. Number 9. This one is surprising. Also, I don't feel like people would expect this that much. I will explain myself, and just know that all of these are my personal opinion, and they're completely based off of canon, not how I would rank these as ships or and fanfiction. Okay, Sorry. Number 9 is Niko and Will from Percy Jackson series. I know, I can hear you saying, it's only because there's not a lot of canon of them together. Like, there's that first book in Trials of Apollo, and that's really it. That's really all we see of them. If we had more content from them, I feel like this would be higher, but we don't really see them that much. That is the only reason they're so low on this list. I love Niko and Will together. They're so cute together, and they kind of like balance each other out really nicely, which I feel like works really well, because I feel like Niko needs someone who's more optimistic, and Will needs someone who's going to ground him. And I just feel like they complement each other so nicely, like some of the other couples on this list. We don't really see much of them, which is why they're so low. I've said this so many times, I'm just repeating myself. But if we had more, and I feel like if Rick Riordan is watching this, which he probably isn't, he should make a spin-off series of just Niko and Will. Because I would read that. I know most people would read that. So, Rick Riordan, if you're watching this, spin-off Niko and Will series. That's all I'm saying. It'd be great. You know I'm right. If you would read a spin-off Niko and Will series, put it in the comments down below. Number 8. Monty and Percy from A Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue. Monty and Percy are great together. They're so cute. They got the adventure, they got the romance, they got the... It's so hard to explain all of these couples on why I like them so much, because I just kind of have this like feeling that I like them a lot, but I can't really like explain it. Monty and Percy from A Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue. They're so cute. I want to cry. You know, that one scene in the boat, y'all know what if you've read this book, you know what I'm talking about, was great. I have it bookmarked on my bookshelf because I like it so much, which I do with a lot of my books. I bookmark books. I don't know. I have a problem. They have a really good friendship. I love the friends to romance trope, and it's overused probably a lot, but I still love it. I like romance. It makes me happy inside. But Monty and Percy have a good friendship. They have a good like banter. They have a good like they complement each other. Like Will and Niko, but differently. But Monty is like this like flirty, optimistic, running off with random people kind of guy, and Percy's this grounded, realist type of guy, and they work so well together. Like you wouldn't expect it to work, but it works, and it works magnificently. Wow, I'm doing a really bad job of explaining all of these. It's fine, whatever. If you know Monty and Percy, they're great, but, and here's the, that's why it's so low. Here's why it's so low. They kind of fight a lot in the first book. They disagree on a lot of things. And it's always Percy telling Monty to not do crazy things, and Monty telling Percy that he's going to go do the crazy things because he's reckless. And yeah, but when they start dating, I guess they're dating. It's in like the 18th century. I don't know. Did they call it dating? Wooing? Courtship? I have no idea. When they start dating, they kind of work, like they kind of like go through problems. But through the first book, it's a lot of them disagreeing. So that's why they're so low. But they're really good as a couple. Like, they're just really cute together. So, number 8, Monty and Percy. Number 7, Ben and Nathan from, oh, geez, what's the book called? I Wish You All the Best. I swear I did do research on all these couples beforehand. Ben and Nathan are from I Wish You All the Best. They, throughout the entire book, their relationship as friends is so, like, good. Like, because Ben is so nervous about telling everyone that they're non-binary, but the moment they tell Nathan, sorry, I just finished Clockwork Angel. Nathan is so accepting, and I just think that's a really good friendship that they have going. They don't get together till the last chapter of the book. Literally, they're together in the epilogue, and that is it. That's why they're slow. But the friendship and like the crush throughout the entire book, Ben's crush on Nathan, is so cute and like heartwarming, and it's just a great book to read. If you ever read any of these books, go read them. They're just amazing. But Ben and Nathan have a really good friendship. They really like worked up to a good romance. Like throughout the entire book, unlike Monty and Percy, they didn't really fight. Like they agreed on most things. I mean, not like agreed, but like they worked through all. they managed to like work through all their problems. Like they didn't really have like disagreements. They kind of like they worked together. I don't know how to explain this. This video is a lot harder to make than I thought it was gonna be. They worked together and they like knew, and then their friends, whose names I can't remember, I will put it down here if I remember. Their friends were so supportive too of their relationship, and I just think overall like it was such a positive environment that they had to go this high on the list, even if they didn't have as much like screen time, I guess, as some of the other couples in this book. But Ben and Nathan are number 7. Number 6, Leah and Abby from Leah and the Offbeat. Oh my gosh, you guys, Leah and the Offbeat was such a good book. Like, we didn't really need a sequel for Simon versus the Homo Sapien Agenda. Like, it was a good ending. It was a good, solid ending. But Leah and the Offbeat was perfect. It was everything I didn't know I needed, but I got. And it was amazing. This is not a book talk of me ranting about how much this book is good. This book was so amazing. If you haven't read Simon vs. the Homo Sapien Agenda or Leah and the Offbeat or any of Becky Albertalli's books, go read Becky Albertalli's books. Brilliant. Great novels. Love them. Leah and Abby have such a wild journey throughout this book because they weren't that close of friends before. Like, they were kind of friends, but they didn't really hang out together. And it was kind of like their journey in becoming like friends to becoming girlfriends. That's the word. I was about to say partners. That sounded like too cowboy-y. Leah and Abby have such an interesting dynamic because they're like, Abby is kind of insecure. Like, she has like these feelings and she doesn't really know how to deal with them. So she like deals with them with Leah, who is comfortable and has known herself for a while. I'm trying not to spoil anything. I should mention this. I should have mentioned this at the very start. There will be spoilers for all of the books that I mentioned. Whatever. I'll do a spoiler. I'll re-edit a spoiler. I need to cut this whole thing out. Leah and Abby have such interesting dynamic. Already talked about that. They're so good together. Like, you wouldn't expect it since Leah's super introverted and Abby's super extroverted. And like, it doesn't seem like it would work since they weren't really friends first. Like, they kind of didn't really talk much. But like they started talking more, and then they went to prom, and that whole scene was brilliant. And there was the email at the very end, and they work really well together. And it's just that whole like dynamic that they have, and the whole like them going to college to like work, and like going to the college tour so they can tour Georgia University, whatever college they're going to, and you kind of see them realizing that they do have like an interesting dynamic, that they are both connected to each other. It's so, Leah and the Offbeat is so good. Go read it. We made it to the top 5. Number 5 is Simon and Baz from Carry On. I love Carry On, and I love reading. I reread it a lot. Probably it's not good, but it happens. Simon and Baz are number 5 because they have a really good. Oh my god! I think if I say they have a really good dynamic one more time, I'm gonna puke. But they do, like, I love enemies to partners, not like that, but like they work together, to lovers, and I love enemies to lovers just as a thing. It's great. But Simon and Baz, I mean, Baz just as a character is my favorite. He's so like dramatic and clearly gay from the beginning, and Simon's so clearly obsessed with him that if you reread Carry On, you will see it, and you will not be able to unsee it. Trust me, I read Carry On for the first time and I'm like, why does everyone think Simon's so obsessed with Baz? And then I reread it and I'm like, oh, yeah, I see it. It's insane how much these two actually like each other without Simon actually realizing that it's like that. And I think that's hilarious. Rainbow Rowell did such a good job creating this world and creating these characters that don't seem like they would work well together, but they work really well together. It's kind of the like yin-yang, where you don't really think like it fits together, but it does fit together. And I think that's super cute. Simon and Baz do have a few problems, which is why they're probably number 5 and they won't be higher up. I mean, first of all, they were enemies. I feel like enemies is never a good basis for a romance. But then they become kind of friends. And then Baz tries to light himself on fire. And it kind of rockets forward from there. And we love chapter 61. Alright. Number 4. Weiland and Jesper. Actually, fun fact, this is one of my favorite couples of all time. I love them so much. It is only this low because we don't really see much of them until that one chapter in Crooked Kingdom. That's really it. But I love their journey. That was a long beat of silence. Sorry. But we see their journey to becoming like employees, kind of. Employee friends. You know, when you're working and you're only friends with people like in the workspace. And that's it. That's kind of what Weiland and Jesper were up until Crooked Kingdom. We actually realize that they are becoming friends. And then from there, they become friends, and like this, and it's super cute. Weiland and Jesper do have some problems though. Jesper is, you know, a gambling addict, and Weiland doesn't really seem to be able to help that. But they do work well together, and they have this kind of trust from being in the dregs together and being one, like working together with Kaz and kind of like having that trust that you need to have to, you know, break into the ice court together. So there's that, and that's a good base. That's a good solid foundation for a good friendship, and then from there a good romance. And I just think that that journey of them being like kind of just like dealing with each other, to being good friends, to being best friends kind of, to, well, you know where this is leading, to dating and falling in love with each other. And I just think that that's so beautiful, and that's why this is number 4. Alright, we made it to the top 3. This is so exciting. Number 3 is, drumroll, I'm such a dork, Magnus and Alec from the Cassandra Clare's Shadowhunter Chronicles, just the whole series. Magnus and Alec, also one of my favorite couples of all time. So cute together, and they have kids, and it's just beautiful, and we don't really see much of them in the first couple books of, you know, this series. We don't really see much of them. Up until probably, I'd say, City of Lost Souls, where, you know, and that whole thing's happening. And we just kind of, it's kind of like a background thing. Like their romance isn't really center stage. It's Clary and Jace, and that's the whole big romance. But then we get into like her second, these 3 books, Fallen Angels, Lost Souls, and Heavenly Fire, and their romance gets put up to the top. And it's moved forward from like Jocelyn and Luke's marriage, and Magnus gets kidnapped, and you kind of like see their dynamic, and you see how much Alec actually relies on Magnus. And it's kind of like beautiful in a way that, and also kind of sad that it took Magnus getting kidnapped and taken to Edom for them to like work through all their problems. But you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. It's, Downworld and Jedi aren't really working together, and I think that's dumb, by the way. I have a lot of problems on the Clave and their system for dealing with Downworlders. And this is not the video for that. Maybe there will be. If you want that video, comment down below. And you kind of see their whole, like, the way that they work together and how they actually, like, do depend on each other and do rely on each other. But, like, not in, like, a bad way, in, like, a good way. And, like, that they realize that they don't have to be alone anymore, and they can be with each other, and they can be happy, and they can have a happily ever after. And I think that is amazing. And that is why Magnus and Alec are number 3. Number 2. Oh my god, this is so exciting. Alex and Henry from Red, White, and War. This is a mouthful. Red, White, and Royal Blue. That is a mouthful to say. Huh. Oh my gosh. Alex and Henry have an interesting relationship. They start off as, I'm not gonna say that on camera. They start out hating each other, and then they have to be friends because scandals in the news are not good. And then they start actually being friends. And then Alex is having his whole midlife crisis of, am I actually gay or am I bisexual? And everyone knows but him. And I just think that in itself is great, and is beautiful, and I feel like that's really realistic. But then they realize that they actually do both really like each other, and they start dating in secret. This is going to be me giving a rundown of every single book that I've read that has a gay couple in it. Might be. And they realize they like each other, and then they have to break up because the press is awful, by the way, in this book. It's so frustrating whenever something happens that has to do with the press. It's the most frustrating. And then everything starts to go wrong, and Alex flies to London, and everything starts to go right again. And then they have to deal with all that, and overall, Alex and Henry stick together, and they are loyal to each other, and I just think that that's so beautiful. Like, they didn't really like each other at first, and then they became friends. Like, they became friends over text messages, but I don't know how good that is. I have a couple of friends that I only, like, see like, once a year. But that really worked for them, and then they met again, like, in person, and they kind of were like, whoa. And it kind of just happened. Alex and Henry are really interesting because you don't really think, like, it really shouldn't work. Like, you go through the book and you read it and you're like, well, of course they're going to be together. But that's because you know that's the book. But when you think about it, this really won't happen. Like, this shouldn't work, but it does, and they make it work, and they fight for each other. And the way that they, like, stick with each other, and the way that they prove to the world that they are actually in love with each other, and it's not just a thing, like a fling, or like a thing that happens. I don't know what I'm trying to say. And the way that they show the world, kind of like Magnus and Alec, that they are meant to be together, and that it is love. It's great. It's really, I love it so much. So Alex and Henry, number 2. And number 1, Simon and Bram. Oh my gosh, you guys, they are the perfect couple. I made a list of, because I chose 12 LGBTQ couples, and I made a list of their pros and their cons. I couldn't think of any cons for Simon and Bram. It was so difficult. The only one I came up with was long distance, and I put a question mark in parentheses. Is that really a con? Is that really, like, they have so much building up to the end of Simon versus the Homo sapiens agenda. That's the book that it's from, because I forgot to mention that. But they have so much building up. Like, you have the emails, and you have Simon's forced coming out, and you have him telling Blue to meet him at the carnival. And it's this whole, like, build up to this beautiful moment that you just know is going to work out in the end. Because that's the type of book that this is. It's probably going to work out at the end. But you just know that they have so much building to this. Their trust and their emails and the, like, faith that they're putting in the other person, and the trust that they have to tell them everything about themselves. Like, Bram telling Simon about his father, and Simon telling Bram about, like, his childhood and the trash can costume that Nora had. And it's just like, they're putting so much trust in each other, and they haven't even met yet. And then they meet, and it's like sparks flying. And they're so good. Like, they have, like, the trust, and they have the they're just perfect. I can't think of anything wrong with them. I made the list, I think, 2 days ago, and I still can't think of anything wrong with them. They're so good together. Their promposal, like, okay, I thought of another good reason instead of just me telling you how cute they are. They don't judge each other. They kind of judge, but, like, not, like, negative judging. Like, friend judging. Like, when Simon wrote the Love Actually fanfiction, he put it up on Archive of Our Own. And then Bram found it, and he used it, and he took the thing that was Simon's that Simon was embarrassed about, and he made it part of their, like, relationship, and he took that and he found it, and they work together, and they're so cute. Yes, this is just gonna be me telling you how cute Simon and Bram are. They got number 1 because A, I couldn't think of any negatives, but B, because they had worked so hard for their to be together. Like, homophobia and sexism and everything is not good, and they pushed past it and they found a way to be together and be happy, and that's beautiful. And that is why Simon Brim is number 1. And that's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you had any discussions, if you have any other like book recommendations, if you have like anything that kind of relates to this video, put it in the comments down below. While you're down there, hit the like button and hit subscribe. I make videos every Monday. Happy Pride Month. See you later, guys. I don't know how to end videos. I always fail at this. This is just something that I'm not good at. Yeah, I make videos every Monday. I'm Amelia. Have a great day.